Hello from my cozy wooden cabin. My name is Melly, and on this channel you will find a lot of sewing, a lot of costumes and a lot of cats. If this sounds good to you, feel free to subscribe. Now today's video is all about Christmas, as you might have guessed. For this year's costume collaboration, Home for the Holidays 2020, please check out the hashtag. I decided to turn myself into a Christmas elf and make a cute outfit for my elfish alter ego. This is my first ever vlog and you can expect some holiday kitsch and shenanigans at the end. Spoiler, this is one of my sweetest costumes ever. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first time I'm doing this vlog thing. Let's see how it goes. I'm about to trace my pattern for the Christmas project. That's the blouse pattern. It is super huge. The sleeve pattern is actually bigger than the front and back. So it's the next evening. I'm going to start on the blouse. So this is a very simple blouse. I will not do a mock-up for this one. Yeah, let's cut this thing. That's one huge sleeve. Don't know if you can see it, but it's very annoying to cut because of these woven in stripes. Okay, so right now I'm pinning my blouse and I will start sewing in a minute. Okay, now I'm sewing my side seams on the blouse. I will iron it and then I'm going to start on the sleeve. I'm making a small hem on this sleeve, so I'm stitching a line and I will turn it in and then I will turn it again. So I have a very narrow small hem. Now I need to mark where the casing for the elastic will go. I found some tape for the elastic, pinning it over my line and then I'm going to sew it. So right now I'm feeding the elastic through the casing. So third time's the charm, I hope, because it slid into the casing out of the wall, or I don't know how you call it, the feed-through thingy. And now I do it the third time. Also I have to make sure that the other side will not slip into this, would be the same result. So I did it. The first elastic is in the casing and I really love how roughly it is now. So now we have two sleeves with the elastic inside and now I need to secure the elastic at the end so it will never ever slip again into these freaking casings. So my sleeves are ready to go into the blouse. So let's put the blouse together. So the sleeves are in. We have two sleeves on a very large blouse. I will do a tunnel for the elastic here too and then the blouse is already done. No, it's not done, it needs to be hemmed of course, but it's close to be done. I'm about to cut into my trouser fabric. So right now I'm cutting the tie for my trousers, which make a little cute bow at the end of the legs. Now I'm going to stitch the legs of my trousers. Now I'm putting together the trouser legs to make it an actual trouser. So I slide them into each other. And then I'm going to stitch it. And we got pants. Very huge pants. I'm feeding the elastic into my trousers so they will stay up, which is always a good thing for trousers to do, I think. There it is. That's where we are right now. Looks like pajama. And now the legs will get casings too for the elastic there, and then we make some bows for it. So the elastics are in. Very poofy trousers now. So I made the ties for my trousers, and I need to trim away the seam allowance, especially here where it comes to a sharp point, because you cannot turn it very nicely if you don't cut it away. So I made my ties for the trousers. I will sew them on quickly and then 2 pieces are done. I'm back at the sewing room. I'm starting the bodice using McCall 4107, and I think the first thing I will do is put interfacing on this one because it's fairly thin. I roughly cut out my pieces for the bodice, and now I'm going to interface it, and then I will cut the actual shape because it can warp a little when you put interfacing on it. All my pieces have their corresponding interfacing attached, and I need to cut it out now. So I'm right now looking at the trim options. I already have this red glittery one sewn on, and I think it needs more. So I'm starting to assemble the front of my bodice. I stay stitched and clipped into my seam allowance of the front piece. I'm now pinning it to the side piece, so this helps getting around this curve of the front side piece. As always, looking out for my notches. Can you see how this spreads open? That's why it needs to be clipped, so it can lay around this curved edge. Otherwise it would not be able to go around that curve. So I'm working on the back piece. Don't know if you can see it, but I marked out where the loops will go for the lacing in the back. Going for this little gold trim, I will use it for the loops, so I don't have to spend some time making tiny loops myself. And the loops are in. So now I got the back piece pinned. The loops are now sandwiched between the seams. And now I'm going to stitch it. I'm at the long peplum skirt piece of the bodice. It needs to be gathered into the length of the bodice. I made 2 lines of gathering stitches, and now I'm gathering this thing into its final length. So the ruffly part is on, and it's cute. And now I'm cutting the lining. Alright, so I got my lining assembled. I already stitched my boning casings. So I got my boning sorted. All the bones are in their channels. I will now close the boning channels, and then we can stitch it to the actual bodice. So now I can pin the lining to the bodice, right sides together. The lining is stitched to the bodice, and now we have to do some trimming of the seam allowances, and then I'm going to slip stitch the lining on this edge. Let's turn this baby. Let's do some ironing. It's now all pinned in place. I'm going to slip stitch all the way down here. So the little sleeves, they are stuffed with bedding. So now I'm putting on trim onto the little sleeve cap. Okay, so we have 2 finished sleeves, and that's all that's left of my red trim. Very close. Now I need to pin these to the bodice. Okay, so we are very close to be done. I just need to stitch these loop trim for the lacing in front, and then the sewing is done. So close.